Slaptail Squad, assemble.
If you are listening to this, you are a member of the great Slaptail Nation, my nation. And who am I? Well, I'm the Beaveman, master of the universe, creator of all things great and small, and Lord High Commander of the great Slaptail Nation Army. And she's too busy to join in on the podcast because she can't stop texting. But with me in the Beaver Den is the Swan. Say hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan.
Are we taking up too much of your time,
No,
Swan?
I was silencing my phone so I don't
Really?
get called
Because
out
you look like you were pretty preoccupied there at the beginning of the podcast when you should have already taken care of all of that.
Texting the daughter, making sure she don't make a lot of noise when she comes home.
Also with us today is my number 2, the Rons.
Hey, Beaveman. This looks like a great segue to
Talk about
how
lube.
are you doing?
Oh, I thought you were going to say this is a great segue to talk about lube.
I don't think we talk about how you're doing when Tremonde's not here.
Yeah. That's
No.
the Tremonde thing, Rons.
So,
You say good afternoon, all that.
how you
that's a
doing?
Tremonde
Yeah, that's a Tremonde thing. We don't really give two shits about how you're doing today, Rons. Oh, wait. How's your mental?
I said to Beaveman. not
How's your
me.
mental?
Before we get too far into it today, by the way, we have lost several cool celebrities, and I'm not really very happy about it. It started on August 7th. Do you know who we lost on August 7th, Rons?
I've been following the news. I know we lost
Nope, don't.
Olivia
Okay, but
Newton-John.
that wasn't.
That wasn't on the 7th.
That wasn't on the 7th?
No.
Then I couldn't tell
We've
you.
lost 3 in a row.
They usually say it comes in threes. I don't know how true that is, but it seems
Well, I mean,
to
it
be true
depends
right
on.
now.
I guess it depends on who you follow. I mean, we lose people all the time, but which ones you know of and which ones mean something, or not that everybody doesn't mean something. I mean, which one that
Of
means
course, of
something.
course.
One
personally.
brings back your childhood memories like Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Is that who we lost?
Yes, we lost Roger Mosley on August 7th. He played TC. He was a childhood hero of mine.
The helicopter pilot.
Yeah, he apparently I didn't realize why he died. I looked it up today. I'm very disturbed.
Oh, I
He
didn't.
was in a very bad car accident, got paralyzed from the shoulders on down, and died 3 days later. He was actually injured on the 4th, and he passed away on the 7th.
That's sad.
83 years old. Big hero of mine. And yeah, that always sucks ass.
Yeah, that sucks ass, but I'm kind of glad that he died instead of trying to live paralyzed like that.
What a
That's
terrible way to. Why couldn't
terrible.
he have just died immediately?
Yeah, then, yeah, I would have rather died instantly.
I would like to die peacefully in my bed.
Yeah,
I don't want to be in a traumatic accident.
agree.
I don't think
Oaxaca!
I don't think that anybody should have to have that kind of terrible pain.
Well, I agree. I'd like to go like my grandfather in his sleep, not like the screaming passengers in his car.
Hilarious. But I'm bummed.
Oh, that was a bad one,
That
Ron.
was great. It was fantastic, Ron's. He's been holding that one in the reserve for a long time. And then,
A very long time.
as you said,
I've heard that
Ron,
before.
we lost Olivia Newton-John on the 8th.
Yeah, that was sad.
And she was only 73.
I feel like her life she probably suffered a lot.
30 years of breast cancer
would be
battling breast cancer for 30 years.
Yeah, that sucks.
That sucks ass. Great childhood memories of Olivia Newton-John. I can still remember seeing Grease in the drive-in.
Is that like the only musical that you like?
It is one of the only musicals that I like. That is correct.
Yeah, but
If you ask me to
Wow.
tell you another musical that I like, I can't think of one.
yeah.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I'm sure I like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but somebody has made me not like it.
That's me. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
So yeah, if you have to see it too many times, no. I would like to see Grease again now, though.
It's probably a
Wanna see
Xanadu was okay.
I want to see it on the big screen. I remember seeing Xanadu, but I remember very little about it.
Okay.
But no, I think I'm going to have to rent Grease, put it up on the big screen, but we're going to have to get a different speaker.
Yeah, we are.
That speaker sucks ass.
Yeah.
We had a nice purchase, Swan.
Sorry.
Anyway, and then
Anyway.
we lost Jean LaBelle. And I know Swan doesn't know who that is.
I didn't know who that was.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jean LaBelle.
Honestly, I didn't know who that was either until I read the bio on him, and I'm like, wow, this guy's amazing.
Oh yeah, you didn't know who Gene was?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Well, for you martial arts fans out there, you know who Gene LaBelle is. Awesome grappler. Was rumored to have choked out Steven Seagal until he shit himself. I believe the
That's
rumor.
pretty funny. I mean,
I believe the rumor because Steven Seagal likes to talk some shit, and I'm not impressed by Steven Seagal. People keep releasing these videos of what he can do, and I'm like, yeah, those guys are just letting him do that.
I was gonna say the one that we watched where he like just dropped people by touching them. I was like not impressed at all.
Like, I mean, first of all, when we're gonna have this discussion when I have an actual bunch of martial arts to talk about it. You fall a specific way when you're training with somebody so that you don't get hurt, and it's part of the technique.
And it's called being a good partner.
It's called being a good partner. So, and he's just like,
I would agree.
He's just super overzealous about it. But he's not really like, if you resisted, I'd like to see what he does if you resist. Pretty sure I could beat the fuck out of Steven Seagal.
As a challenge, Steven.
Come on, I know I could. Come on, I know I could. One hit to the fucking throat.
Yeah, bring it on, Steven Seagal.
You know what movie I want to see? I was thinking about this. I saw these movies when I was a kid, and it dawned on me that it popped up on something I was looking at. Have you ever seen Billy Jack? Any of the Billy Jack movies, Swan? You remember those, Rons?
Yeah, I've only seen bits and pieces.
That was like
them,
that was kind of like the first time I can remember ever seeing somebody get kicked in the face.
Were they like good kicks to the face, or?
The guy who did the stunts for the actor for Billy Jack, it was like a Hapkido master.
No, okay. So, because when stuff is choreographed on TV or movies,
you should pull up. There's some pretty damn good choreography
to the face.
Oh yeah. You remember that scene in Major Payne?
Yeah.
Where he's like, I'm gonna take this foot. I'm gonna kick it across your face, and he's like, don't give me that Billy Jack bullshit, and then he punches him in the throat. It's kind of like that, except in the movie, he like kicks him with the other foot, like on the opposite side of his face or whatever. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. That was like the first time I saw martial arts, and I was like, this is fucking cool.
Okay.
Well, back to your personal hero. I did not know this about Mr. Mosley. He became a certified private helicopter pilot, and he was not allowed to do his own stunts. But he didn't drink or smoke, and he insisted his character on Magnum PI didn't do that either.
Yeah.
So
I remember that. He was always drinking coffee. Why is that cool? What's cool about that? Why is that super cool?
Because, I mean, when you...
Uh-oh.
Ron's froze. Either that or
Ron's is
super
frozen.
Look at his face. Uh-oh.
What is that noise?
Is your dog scratching the carpet?
Maybe. Pause it.
I think I was about to ask you, why was it cool? Exactly.
Yeah, why was it cool? Because, honestly, who didn't want to be a helicopter pilot back then? When you watch Magnum PI, fly around in Hawaii over lava.
I thought you meant it was cool that he didn't drink alcohol on the show.
I mean, I think that's cool for him that he was staying true to himself.
Real alcohol anyway.
I know. But he didn't want to represent that as a character or himself. And maybe that's cool for him.
Okay. I mean, there are a lot of cooler things, like, how big his biceps were or how cool he looked flying a helicopter. But whatever, you guys want to focus on his character didn't drink alcohol.
I didn't bring that up. I didn't bring that up. I was just actually trying to agree with Ron for once. Like, maybe he was trying to stay true to himself.
Oaxaca.
Anyway, Oaxaca. I love to, as we all know, the Beaveman loves comedy. The Swan doesn't understand comedy. But the Beaveman loves it.
I like certain comedy.
Yes, we know. Whatever. You like
toilet humor.
Like to shit yourself.
I like toilet humor. It's funny.
Like to shit yourself.
Yeah.
Also, I have Sirius XM radio. Not going to brag. I really do need to drop it, though, because I don't drive.
Yeah, what's the point?
There's kind of no point. Anyway.
Or can't you listen to it at home?
Yeah, but
there's too much other things to do at home. I listen to podcasts at home. And most of the time in the car, also. Anyway, driving down the road the other day and listening to the comedy station. I can't remember if it was Comedy Central or Laugh USA. It was one of those. And a comedian comes on. Now, I've heard this comedian before. And he's all right. He's kind of funny. I mean, I like to laugh. It's rare that I'll listen to a comedian and not laugh.
That's true. You even if it's like stale and corny, you still like
I still laugh. There's usually funny stuff. Being a comedian is a really hard job.
Yeah.
Maybe, in my opinion, maybe one of the hardest jobs. Anyway, so I'm listening to this comedian and I got mad.
You got mad at comedy?
I got mad at comedy. Instead of laughing, I got mad at comedy. Because
why is that?
Because this comedian was fucking wrong. No, it's okay if you give an opinion and your opinion might be controversial and maybe you're just doing it for entertainment. But I actually think that this comedian believed what he said.
Okay.
Well, isn't that also the purpose of the comedian? Try to have him sway you to his side on his way of thinking for the humor?
I mean, I don't know. Sure. I always thought that the purpose of the comedian was to entertain and make us laugh.
Of course.
I mean, there's a lot of people now that complain that comedians are taking too much of a stand on everything instead of being comedians. And I kind of agree with that, and I kind of don't. I do and I don't because, one, I think that they can take a stand because they have an opinion just like the rest of us.
But don't try to push it on me.
But don't try to push it. Yeah, and don't make your entire routine about it when we've paid to see you make us laugh. You know, that's just my opinion. Anyway, Joe DeRosa, he has a little comedy bit that he did. And this was on a Comedy Central stand-up half hour, apparently. And you can find this on YouTube, and I'll link it.
I don't know if we want to share this. We don't want to give him views because I think he's a jerk too. So
you can listen to it and not like it. You don't have to watch. Okay, you don't have to watch it and not say it. If you listen to it
and you disagree, give him a big fat thumbs down. I guess if you like it,
kind of looks like a big fat thumb.
He does.
And anyway, I was gonna say the title so that people can actually look this up on YouTube.
All right, I'll be. And
I can link it or share it or whatever. It's Joe DeRosa. This is what you type in. Joe DeRosa, where did the concept of hot nurses come from? All right, so anyway, I'm just going to do a little synopsis. I'm going to bring up some key points that the Swan and I can talk about. As you listening audience might know, the Ron likes to say that we're healthcare providers. I wish Ron's would just straight up fucking say what we are. We're fucking nurses.
Yeah.
I'm not. I used to say that in the past.
No. First of all, you never said that. You kept saying that we were in the healthcare field, and I kept telling you, stop saying that. Just fucking say we're nurses.
Well, okay.
There's a big difference.
Healthcare field. I could be the clerk. I could be the person who empties the trash. Not saying that they're not essential because they are, but when people say I'm in the healthcare field and don't say what their actual title is, I know right away most of the time they're not doctors or nurses.
Or if they just say I'm a nurse, that's a generic term too. Like I'm a registered nurse, or I'm an LPN, or I'm. Like you can use your title. I'm a nurse practitioner.
Anyway, there's so many things wrong with what Joe said, but I think that I will let you guys be the judge. If you listen to it and you don't get angry and you think it's fucking funny and you think it's fucking accurate, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Let me give you some of the highlights of what he says. First thing he says, he kind of makes a point that he wants to know where the idea of the hot nurse came from that you so often see in porn.
I mean, when I first started listening to that, I was thinking it was going to be funny because I was thinking he was thinking of like hot nurse in like little skimpy lingerie outfit and what everybody puts on as their nurse costume, or like thinking of like when Bugs Bunny was the nurse.
Like 15 more times?
I was taking a message from Tremonde, or when like Bugs Bunny puts the nurse costume on. Or the nurse from Animaniacs. Like, I think of, that's what I was thinking, where he was going to go with it. Like, why aren't all nurses hot with their skirts and their fishnets?
Well, to expand on that, he talks about that being the fantasy and, oh, hot nurse, why can't you suck my dick or whatever?
Yeah, not going to happen.
Okay, first of all, let me explain something to the general public. I have a lot of things to explain.
Yeah, go ahead. Start explaining.
Number one, there are just as many hot nurses out there. And if you don't see them, this is why you don't see them. Nurses don't go to work and get all dolled up. They throw a ponytail on. They put their scrubs on because their fucking job is hard, you fucking piece of shit. That's why. The hottest nurses they don't typically work. The ones that I didn't say, I'm not saying that the hottest nurses. What I'm saying is the ones who have time to put their face on and do all these other things typically don't have your bedside nurse job. A lot of times they're administrative folks or they're working in an outpatient setting. That doesn't mean that the nurses in the hospital aren't hot, because trust me, my friend, you big fucking naked looking thumb, they are fucking hot. I've dated plenty of hot nurses. I'm married to a hot nurse.
I was gonna say, aren't you?
I am a fucking hot nurse.
Yeah.
You know, the person that's gonna back that up is Tremonde, and he's not here, so we'll
I'll
just
back
say
it
yes.
up. He's published as a hot nurse.
Yeah,
He's on a
You're
poster.
on a fucking poster, Rons. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care if it's a special needs poster.
It's not.
We'll go
It's
with
not.
it.
It's male nurse poster.
Anyway,
How come we've never seen this?
I don't know. Have you done any searches to look for me? Anyway,
He
there's
doesn't brag about. We're not bragging about himself.
there's plenty of hot fucking nurses. Trust me. And just because you didn't see them doesn't mean that they don't exist. And there's plenty of nurses who work really fucking hard and who are worn down. And guess what? Even if they were hot and you were hot, guess what they're not going to do?
Date you ugly motherfucker.
I said, even if you were hot,
Yeah, they're not
they're
gonna.
not going to date you.
Yeah,
They're not going to even look at you that way. They're going to look at you like a patient because that's what you are.
Yeah.
They're not looking for a date. And first of all, we're not allowed to date patients. It's unethical. You don't make a date with somebody. How many times have you been hit on, Swan, in the hospital?
a lot. Yeah.
I've been hit on a shitload in the hospital. You don't date somebody that you're meet
taking
and
care
that you're
of?
taking
No.
care of. And what's the best case scenario? Okay, I get a hot nurse. How does this sound for a pickup line? Yeah, so I've been prepping for 24 hours for this colonoscopy. My bowels are completely emptied. This procedure should only be about 45 minutes. I don't really have much of a recovery, but I'm going to be hungry after. Would you like to go meet me for some dinner? Because the only way you could be remotely attractive to somebody when you're a patient is if you were doing some sort of very minor outpatient procedure that's, let's say I was having something like Botox, then maybe it would be okay. But otherwise, you're there because you're sick. Why are you checking out the nurses and thinking that you're going to get your dick sucked?
Yeah, he's all about wrong. But he was there with his mom or something, right? So he was there as like the.
Even so, you're
patient,
there with
but-
your sick mom.
Almost like the legal guardian.
So he's checking out his mom's nurse and being all creepy and weird while his mom's getting. Yeah, no, that's just not appropriate. Maybe you should be more concerned about your mom, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also goes on to say some other fine things that I find really impressive. One of the things he says is that nurses don't know anything.
Yeah.
This is why people die in the hospital, because nurses don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to say about that, Swan?
I have to say that you're a not very good person, Joe, because
Wait a minute. You were going to be politically correct, and now
I was going
stopped.
to. Yeah.
I guess
because,
it's okay. I guess it's okay for Swan to be politically correct, because I can call Joe DeRosa out, and I don't have a fucking problem
No,
with that.
I'm
Fuck
not-
you, Joe DeRosa, you big fat piece of shit. You look like the freaking stepchild of freaking Jared Fogle from fucking Subway.
he does look a little doughy.
With your freaking
Little
turkey
doughy.
neck, and you look like, I read this story once about somebody with rubbery lips. I think it was a Stephen King. It was Stephen King, Stand By Me. There was a character description of this guy that blew this other guy, and he had like rubbery livery lips. That's what that reminds me of. Back me up, anybody who's ever read Stephen King's Stand By Me. There's a interesting scene in there. Actually, it might have been from It. Now that I take it, actually, it was in It.
No, I didn't read it. But anyway, so yeah. What do I got to say about that?
The education thing. He's trying to say that we're stupid.
I feel like he's completely wrong, because I'm sure there's stupid nurses, but there's a lot of stupid fucking doctors out there too, number one. But anyway, nurses are not all in all by any means stupid. The majority of them are the ones who save the doctor's ass more often than not, and save the patient more often than not, because they're the ones who are like he says, with the patient all the time when the doctor is in the room for 3 seconds to take a photo op, because he was like, doctor gets all the credit. Like, and he was saying doctors are great. But then he went on later and said doctor's only in the room for 5 seconds or whatever. But no, the doctor doesn't. He gets all the information and all the data and all the patient assessment from the freaking nurse.
No.
I mean, a lot of it.
First of all, it's a team. Here's the there's another great misconception. The nurses follow orders written by the doctors, and then they have their own standard treatment that they do that's part of nursing. So in other words, they're not the ones who are sitting there going, oh, this is the medication that you are going to be ordered to have today. That's an order from the doctor. Mm-hmm. The nurses carry that out. The ones who are saving your fucking ass and who are watching you 24 hours a day are the nurses, you fucking piece of shit. They're the ones who are, stop seeing that that's what's killing people. And then he sits there and says, oh, they don't care about their job. Case in point, when you see them out, they're wearing their scrubs. And then they take the germs into the hospital. You piece of shit motherfucker. The majority of the people that you see in scrubs, you fucking naked thumb. The majority of the fucking people you see in scrubs are not nurses, you fucking piece of shit. Do you know what the number one most respected profession in the United States is, and always
Porn
in the
star?
top 5 to 10 in the fucking world is?
Nursing.
Nursing. Only in the past couple of years has it remotely changed, probably because of the pandemic. Now it's doctors. Doctors never used to beat us all the time.
Yeah.
They were like 3, 4, 5. We've always been, it's been neck and neck with firemen since 9/11. It's always like they're number one and we were number 2. We used to be number 1 all the time. So if the entire country, except for their fucking naked thumb wearing a sport coat, has decided that we're the most respected profession, he knows more though. Because he's fucking smart as fuck.
Yeah.
Come on my podcast, Joe DeRosa. Why don't you tell me how fucking smart you are? I can't wait to hear it. What other brilliant things did he say? Other than calling us stupid. Oh, yeah. Basically, oh, it's okay. They got 2 years of night school. You piece of shit. Let me explain to you the education.
Please do.
Let me explain it to you. There's multiple tiers. If you go to a 2-year nursing school at an associate's degree program, your very first month, you are taking care of patients with registered nurses, multiple of them, up your fucking ass, making sure you're doing everything appropriately, and you're studying your ass off.
And prior to that 2-year program, you already did all the prereq classes that are still college. Like, you don't just go in, like, graduate high school and become a nurse. There's all the prereqs before nursing school. So, yeah,
And that's one path.
Yep.
The second path is you get your bachelor's degree. You spend 2 years knocking out all your prereqs in a bachelor's program, and then you spend 2 years working on your major. So one's got a 2-year degree, one's got a 4-year degree. They take the same tests. They have to do the same clinicals. They work the same job. And then after that, you've got master's degree. You've got doctorates. You call me fucking stupid to my face, Joe DeRosa, I'll beat the ever-loving fucking piss out of you. And then after I do, and you're in severe need of some medical treatment, all I'm going to do is play your YouTube clip when you go to the hospital, and let's see how many nurses fucking help you. You naked fucking thumb wearing a raggedy-ass blue t-shirt.
Well, wait a minute.
I feel
now.
like we would actually help you, even if you're an asshole, because we help.
I was just gonna say.
Because
that's what we do.
help all assholes, no matter how assy you are, because we are ethical people.
So let's dispel some rumors here. Do you take a Hippocratic oath?
No.
Okay,
That's
so
a doctor thing.
It's a doctor
Yeah,
thing.
it's a doctor thing, but you also have a doctor of nursing sitting next to you, so he's a doctor.
Yeah, but
So
I don't
there's
take a Hippocratic oath.
There's a different oath.
There's a different oath. Anyway.
So yes, we'll
So
give you
actually-
some kind of oath. Sure, yes, go with that.
So, but do you subscribe to that where you would help out the person that's
Even
don't
if you're an
like?
asshole, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
You know how many people have treated us like shit in our career runs that we've helped with a smile on our face?
I've been freaking spit at and called a bitch
Punched.
and punched at and threatened.
Well,
and I still freaking
I don't
help
care
you.
what you and Beaveman do in your room.
I mean, that's fucking seriously. Nobody finds you funny when you say that.
No,
Oh,
and
bite
still freaking help
Oaxaca.
the patient
Oaxaca.
because that's what we do.
Oaxaca. Bite me. Now, I get it. I really do. When you're passionate about what you do, I really do. And when someone steps on it, I mean, you want to defend it. You want to defend it. You really do.
Well, I believe the other point. The other point is though, is he's saying that nurses this and nurses that. I guarantee you that the majority of the people he came in contact with were not nurses.
Yeah, they use the term nurse.
Not even,
or
not even. You're assuming that they're calling themselves that. I'm not assuming that at all because they don't. In the hospital, people who are not nurses don't run around calling themselves nurse.
You're right. You're right.
I know I'm right. They introduce themselves because that's part of their job.
Mm-hmm.
But he naturally assumed that everybody he came in contact with was a fucking nurse. I guarantee you that this freaking overgrown, livery-lipped fucking thumb probably thought that the doctors all have to be men.
Probably.
God forbid there's any female doctors. He probably didn't even recognize that.
And in the hospital, like, everybody wears scrubs. So he was probably talking to a housekeeper.
I was going to mention that there are different colors. Like
not
in the
always.
Navy.
Not always. Not always.
Let me finish here. In the Navy, if you have an assigned task, you have a different color for the shirt for your job for your shirt. So I figured the nursing's like that, or the staff is like that. Like usually nurses wear blue, housekeeping wears like a burgundy color.
Depends.
It depends on the hospital, and two, it depends if the hospital requires that. When I started as a nurse, there was no requirement on what color you wore. That didn't come till later. And one hospital doesn't follow the same color scheme as the next hospital.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not kind of a universal thing.
The two big hospitals in this town have separate color schemes.
Yeah, one nurses wear RNs RNs wear green, and then the other one wears blue. So, and green and blue might mean another thing at another hospital. So, yeah, color your scrubs doesn't matter. If you wear scrubs or not, doesn't matter.
I'm just a little bit
miffed.
I'm a little bit miffed because I wasn't just miffed at him. You know what? He can have his fucking opinion, or maybe it's just he thinks he's funny. He said, I guess, some okay funny stuff, but I kind of like it better when you're kind of busting on yourself.
That's true. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, he's making fun of a bunch of people, like the female cop or something in that one too, but he doesn't like pick on himself. I think comedy's more funny when you actually kind of pick on yourself or use your own scenario.
Self-deprecation.
Yeah.
Or you just talk about your life in general and all the funny shit that happens to you, whether you're busting on yourself or not.
He wasn't being funny about something that happened to him. He was like picking on people.
And he did this right before the pandemic. This was really, I mean, can you think of a worse time to release something than before the pandemic? You just insulted the people who are busting their ass through 3 years of bullshit. There's been plenty of them that have died because of work. There's people that committed suicide because of the work that they did. And I don't find him funny.
Yeah, I
was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, but then he just started, if he would have just stuck with the whole porn thing, I would have been okay with it.
Yeah, that's where I thought it was going, and it would have been funny then. But it's not funny now.
But once again, there's plenty of hot nurses.
Because when I first started listening to it, I was going to say I'm going to say a lot like Tremonde. I was going to say that I thought it would be funny if he was talking about how he pictured all the cartoon characters as his nurses, but he didn't. Like anime nurses or Bugs Bunny dressed up as a nurse.
Or like the Animaniacs nurse?
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like
maybe you should have wrote your own material because you've already said that twice. So maybe that's a good one. Maybe you should come up with that routine.
No.
That would be funny.
I'm not funny. You should probably come up with it. Why don't you redo it, Joe? Redeem yourself.
Well,
Apologize to nurses.
The majority of the
and
comments,
say
they thought
funny.
he was funny. And the
majority of the comments, because there's also a bunch of pieces of shit that are freaking uneducated. They're like, oh yeah, that's totally true. Nurses always kill people. Oh yeah, that's totally fucking true. Oh yeah, you're right. They don't do anything. Oh yeah, that's totally true.
Yeah, I can tell you more often than not, I went my entire shift without going to the bathroom.
Or eating lunch.
Or
working a double.
Yeah, or getting
working the maximum amount of time, working 16 hours or 18 hours. Yeah.
He does mention that there are some really great nurses out there, but it takes that one bad nurse that ruins it for everybody.
Okay, I guess
he's ruining. That's not what he said. He said there are some good nurses. See, that's the difference. He didn't say that the majority of nurses are good and there's some bad ones. He did the opposite. What he said was basically that most of them suck and there are some good ones. They're just treating it like it's a living. That's a pretty shitty attitude to have in the healthcare field. Yeah, most people are not like that. That's completely wrong. Because most people who feel that way, who are like, oh, it's a living or it's a career I can start, they wash out in nursing school.
Yeah, they don't even make it
They
through.
don't make it through. And then once you've done it, I can't think of too many nurses who started doing it who immediately was not overwhelmed and was like, shit, is this something that I can actually do? Because of how hard it is and how hard it is on you mentally and physically and just the mental anguish that you have to go through. And then to have somebody tell you basically that try to spread throughout the whole country with, whatever popularity he has to make us look bad. If we're so fucking bad, why are we one of the most respected professions in the world at all times? Why is it that there's so many of them that are always saving people's asses and never get thanked and go home depressed and have alcohol problems? Yeah, it's not because they don't care.
It's because they care. Then they try to put their whole everything into their job.
But my guess is this guy was a huge pain in the ass in the hospital and thought he was funny, cracking jokes inappropriately and being a total fucking dickhead. And they did their best to help him, but it wasn't good enough for him because he's entitled.
And he probably was treating them like a waitress, asking for water and shit when it's not even his mom's the fucking patient, but he's being more needy than she is. Yeah. So you're a douche, Joe.
Yeah, and then you're trying to get some audience participation and saying that you only see the doctor once when you're in the hospital. Again, false. Again, shows no concept. It's impossible for you to go to the hospital and only see the doctor one time. Unless you died right after you saw the doctor. It's impossible.
Yeah, that's totally
It can't
true.
happen. It can't happen. That's just not even how it's set up. Maybe you see him twice. That's possible. But once is impossible. It can't happen. Unless you died right after you saw him.
Agreed. They're going to come in and do your assessment. They're going to come in and tell you your test results. They're going to come in and tell you the plan, whether you're getting admitted or discharged. I mean, you're definitely seeing the doctor more than once.
And you probably before you leave.
You probably are going to see more than one doctor.
Probably, because everybody's got to get that money.
Yep. So anyway. Dumb, Joe.
Yeah.
Who's dumb? Who's dumb? Joe.
So here's my fun thing that I like to do. Joe, I will give you the benefit of the doubt. But if you decide that your opinion is correct and you feel froggy, I would be more than welcome. I would more than welcome meeting you in an open tournament setting. How about that? You can pick this. You can pick whatever way you want to fight, or I can pick whatever you agree on. How about that? How's that sound?
I think that
sounds
good. Great. Will you wear your nursing uniform?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I'll wear my nursing uniform, and you can
wear your chubby.
You can wear your Subway T-shirt.
Yeah.
You can represent Jared, and you can show up like that. How about that? Sounds good to me.
Sounds
good. What color is your nursing scrubs?
Whatever color.
Whatever color.
Yeah, they can be whatever. We don't. We don't have. We can wear whatever color we want.
I'll wear a nursing skirt. I don't give a shit, and I'll still beat the fuck out of him. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, Swan. If he wears a nursing skirt, will he look hot?
Sure. Why not?
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, comedy. Change the focus. Stop ripping on groups of people unless they. I don't know anymore. I'm so less enchanted by that anymore. You know, when you were a kid, I mean, when I was a kid, you know, there was all different types of comedy, and it really did seem like everybody was insulting each other, and maybe comedy was super racist and all that other stuff. But now I'm just like, if you can rip on anybody, just rip on yourself. It's funny. Rip on yourself and your family interactions. Yeah, I don't think you need to single out a group of people and just start destroying them or trying to taint them to people. You know, this is what I can imagine when that clip came out. Some jackwagons were probably showing those clips to nurses in the hospital saying, isn't this funny? Oh yeah, it's fucking hilarious.
I kind of want to know, even from his audience, how many nurses were in that crowd and got pissed off. Like, I would have had a bad... Well, I would have not thought he was funny.
I would have politely laughed. But
No, I don't even think I would have laughed.
no,
'cause
I would
don't
have.
even.
I would have been polite. But the one thing I would never do, I wouldn't do, is I wouldn't heckle.
No,
someone.
I wouldn't.
Even
have
though you're
heckled him.
right, I'm like, I'm not gonna heckle him, but I would destroy him to other people.
Yeah.
Be like, don't go see this fucking asshole.
So we're focusing on the negative. How much of his comedy routine did he get right, though?
Like what?
Like the police officers, like the because women police officers do a lot of work too. They do a lot of good out there, and he bags on them too.
So you're saying he got that right by bagging on female police officers?
No, I'm not saying
Then
that.
why did you say what part of it did he get right?
Yeah, did he get any of that right? I mean, like, does he expect, are all nurses extremely hot? No, they're not. So I'd say he got that right.
Ron,
Except for,
most people aren't hot.
well, back up. I am hot.
No,
Yes, I am. In my
I
own
mean, in
mind,
your mind, you
I am
are,
hot.
but in
I
a
am
snapshot of the
super
population,
I was talking about the other day. Do ugly people know they're ugly? So, I mean,
Whoa,
There's the answer to your
back-
question.
Where'd
there's
that
the answer to your
negativity come
question, Ron.
from?
I'm just saying, I'm playing the opposite side. I mean,
Wow.
what? Okay, so what
that's
do you think? Okay, so you're trying to play devil's advocate for the thumb.
Well-
I hope people start calling him that because I think that's
Chubby- the
I think
chubby
that's
thumb.
apt.
chubby thumb.
Well, that's going to go against Shelby the Thumb that you aptly nicknamed.
Yeah, but
A
he
couple of
looks
butt-
like a thumb.
We don't know
Anyway,
what Shelby
I
looks
don't know
like.
what Shelby looks like.
Anyway,
Okay.
And I said that your thumb is named Shelby. That's different. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
anyway.
so what
Anyway.
did he? So you're saying that? What did he say that was accurate?
Yeah, what did he say that was right or accurate? I don't.
Well,
I mean, you're
does the
trying to
doctor come in-
defend him. You're trying to defend
Well,
him.
no,
so tell us
I'm
what
not
he said.
defending him. I just wanted to say, because I laughed at his routine. I really did. From an outsider point of view, not a nurse and not anybody in the medical field, I laughed at his routine. So, was he right when the doctor comes in for a couple of moments or an hour, takes care of you, and then disappears, and the nurses do the bulk of the work?
Yeah, but they're not doing the work that's not directed by somebody else.
It's a team effort.
If you have
Go ahead.
a doctor is assigned a panel of patients when they go, let's just use the hospital as an example. The doctor's assigned a panel of patients based on the admissions. Nurses are assigned a group of patients also that are part of their shift in the hall or floor or whatever they work on. So if you're a nurse and you've got X amount of patients, you might have 3 or 4 doctors for that group of patients that you have. They're following orders from multiple doctors for multiple patients. So all the doctors are doing is they're writing orders, they're assessing test results, and they're administering or having stuff administered based on whatever it is that you have while you're in, based off of your results. So it doesn't matter if you don't, quote, see the doctor. They're doing shit in the background. They don't have to be at your fucking bedside.
They come to your bedside to make rounds and put their face on you and do their assessment. But then they're, like you said, reviewing your chart and doing all your orders and doing other things. So what's so funny,
Excuse me.
Ron? What's so funny,
Well,
Ron?
no, I'm seeing the comments that someone left under his little clip here, and this is hilarious. Someone put, "Good for Jared Fogle to start up a new career."
Yeah, we already said that.
I thought that was hilarious.
We already said that's who he looked like. The offspring of.
So we just had that whole conversation between you and I, Swan.
And Ron's
he
was not
interrupted
even,
us because we thought he was going to say something about that. It was his question.
It was.
No, you know
No,
what?
it
I
was.
am
You
listening.
said what was accurate about the whole doctor, and I just explained the whole thing to you.
Yeah.
And then instead of commenting on that,
Why would
you
I
were-
comment
first
on
of all,
something
you
you're
were-
right?
First of all, you weren't even paying attention to
I
what we were
was.
saying. It was your question, but you weren't paying attention to the
I
answer.
was, but however,
And
why
instead
would I
you were
dis- you know
scrolling
what?
through comments, and then you
I was
decided to
paying
stop us
attention.
by saying the
I
comment.
was paying attention, but why would I disagree with someone who's an expert in the field?
You're not disagreeing. You asked us a question. We explained the question to you, and instead of showing us that you understood or having a
I
follow-up
did.
question, instead you weren't even listening. You were scrolling through comments, And then instead, you just decided to tell us a comment.
No, I was listening.
Really, what'd she say? What did we say? Tell us what we said then.
Oh, poor
Oh,
aunt.
shit.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, because
fucked.
you don't
aunt.
know. You don't know what we said, do you?
Basically, what you said was that, damn, now I can't even remember my own question. Because you just threw me into a corner here. I was agreeing with you that,
Yeah, it's easy to agree with us. That doesn't mean you heard what we said and you can repeat what we said.
I
Or
get
have
that.
some
I
sort of
really do.
synopsis of what we said, which is what I just asked you to do.
Oh, man. I'm just drawing
You're
a
not
blank
going to
here.
dig yourself out of this one, so we should
No,
probably
you know what? That's
move
that's just the way it is.
Hey there, members of the Great Slaptail Nation. It's me, the Beaveman, and I'm here to deliver you a message from beyond the stars about our sponsor for this episode, Swiss Navy. No matter who you love or how you love, Swiss Navy products set the bar for sexual enhancement. There's more glide, more comfort, and even products for longer-lasting pleasure. Swiss Navy has a wide range of premium products to choose from for whatever amount fills your hole, if you know what I mean. My favorite product is Swiss Navy's silicone lube. Get it, use it, love it, and never be dry again. Once again, that's Swiss Navy at SwissNavy.com. And in your order comments, let them know the Slaptail Squad sent you. Swiss Navy, no matter who you love or how you love. Adios, mooch fuckos. Back to what I was saying. You know what? Maybe I'm being too hard on Joe DeRosa. Maybe I should be nicer.
Maybe you should just educate him. That's maybe what he needs. He just needs education.
No, he doesn't want to be educated. He thinks he knows it all.
Well, I was
he thinks
given,
he's being funny.
but maybe he just needs to be educated.
I mean, I was going to do the podcast and just be polite about it and not being insulting to him and not calling him a fat piece of shit, even though that's what he is.
But, this is something you're passionate about.
But I decided to embrace it and tell him that he's
Yeah,
a
you're
fat piece of shit.
Yeah, maybe he'll learn now. Maybe he'll change his tune.
You are
He probably
passionate
won't, though,
about
'cause he's a
what you
douche.
do. This is your life, and your life is about helping others survive. So when someone comes out there and says, most of the nurses, kill somebody, right, or hurt somebody, it's like, yeah, it's a slap in the face. You actually get out there and you've done more, and we've talked about this. You've done more to save lives than I ever have. You've done more behind the scenes than I ever have.
That was very humble of you, Ron, to say that I've saved more lives than you.
Well, yeah. I didn't know how to say that. You actually would show up at the scene of an accident and you would try and do your best to save somebody's life. You've told me some shit, and it really weighs you down on the psyche. But I don't know how you deal with it. And when someone comes out and says, "Oh, all nurses do this," or "some nurses do that," you're like, do you realize what you've just said? And I get it before the pandemic. I really do. Right? You guys are out there, these nurses, right? You and I both know nurses, doctors. They're under a lot of stress during the pandemic, even pre-pandemic, even post-pandemic, if that ever fucking happens, are going to still be under a lot of stress. So I get it when someone slaps you in the face and they say, you don't know what you're doing. Right. And he's probably not generally talking about the majority of the nurses. He's probably had a bad experience with one or two, but he's kind of lumping everybody else together. And that's
then maybe he could have said this one experience I had, but he did lump it all together and made it sound like every nurse, with the exception of a few, is a dumbass. So
yeah. And when he gets out there, he says, there aren't a lot of hot nurses. I don't know. Whenever I go to the hospital, I see a lot of good-looking nurses. All right.
Yeah, I don't think that our area can be unique.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's plenty of hot nurses out there.
Where'd you go Where'd you go?
Where did you go? Maybe they just weren't his type because he has super high standards.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, because I'm sure he's getting laid by some serious quality all the time. Yeah.
And who are you gonna need to check for those STDs?
Yeah, you know what?
Nurses.
I just kept getting mad because I was thinking back to my career and how much I've enjoyed being a nurse. And honestly, how much easier it is to be a nurse practitioner. And I don't, what's the word? I don't envy the nurses. I don't envy their job. It's so much harder in a different way than mine is. And I couldn't go back to do it. I wouldn't be able to. I mean, I would actually have to be trained again, like in some sort of an externship to be a nurse again.
I guess it's also harder if the patient is someone you know or a friend. I remember when Little Powder Donut had GERD, and she thought there was something medically wrong with her. So we went into the emergency room, and a couple of our nursing friends that you and I both know.
This is interesting because none of these people that he's talking about now are nurses. Let's just keep that in mind.
Okay, we'll let him go where he's going.
Yeah, let him go with it.
But you don't know. It's along the line.
He's going to erroneously call these people nurses, and neither one of them were nurses. Let's just keep that in mind because he told me the story years ago. Neither one of these people are nurses.
I know who you're talking about. So yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Really, the one in the cardiac unit wasn't a nurse?
No. I told you that 1,000 times.
1,001 now.
1,001.
Wow.
The other one, also not a nurse.
So, okay, carry on. Tell your story.
I was going to say the nurses and the staff were actually very concerned, right? They came in and checked, made sure Little Powder Donut was okay and everything. And then actually I got a glimpse at when I walked out, I looked at their schedule board and
so you were nosy. Gosh. So you were fucking nosy.
They, because the nurses station was right there. They had all the rooms, and in the center was the nursing station, if you want to call it that. I don't know what they call it. And you just saw all the notes that they left to each other, and you saw their schedules. And I'm like, they are severely overworked sometimes. So pulling 12-hour shifts.
And this was pre-pandemic.
Yes, it was.
Swan and I were super lucky.
Yes, you were.
We made it out of the pandemic. No, we made it out of the pandemic pretty early on. I mean, I worked it for what's so funny?
No,
no. I get it, but it sounds like a zombie apocalypse. We made it out.
How is it not, Ron? If you talk to somebody who's never left the actual hospital inpatient side this whole time, that has been working the inpatient side this whole time, they fucking have
burned
PTSD.
out, and burned out and stressed out and have trauma from what went on.
I guarantee you this was going to be equal to war zone work. By the time this is all over, you're going to have an entire generation, even though they're multiple ages, of nurses and doctors, hospital staffers that are fucked up from this pandemic. And I was saying before you so fucking rudely laughed, Swan and I were lucky. We got out of it early. I worked in an office where they didn't believe it existed, and I was seeing like 30 to 40 patients a day in an office every 10 minutes, being exposed to all that shit, being like the only person wearing a fucking mask, diagnosing people with COVID left and right. Thankfully, I got the fuck out of that office. Swan, at least, was working somewhere where they believed it, and so she got access to personal protective equipment, so she could protect herself that way. But we were lucky enough, we weren't working in a hospital setting. And all those people
and you still freaked the fuck out going to work because you didn't know if you were going to bring COVID back home to your family or get it, or how to keep yourself safe at that time. We didn't even know.
And that's why I'm saying, so if you compare what we did, it's nothing compared to those nurses in the hospital and the doctors in the hospital. And then some piece of shit is going to say how they're dumb and they don't do anything, and that's why people die is because of them. And yeah, okay, that's all pre-pandemic. It was in 2019, October 2019, when this was uploaded. Who knows when it was actually released? But boy, could you have been a bigger insult a couple years later? Maybe that's the shit that people need to think about. Make fun of yourself. You got plenty of material. Trust me.
Yeah.
Just from looking at
you. If you need some, just give us a call.
Yeah,
we'll help you out.
I can give you plenty of pointers on what you can make fun of. I mean, I make fun of myself. You guys have heard my comedy routine stuff. It's all making fun of me and the dumb things that I've done or the dumb things I'm going to do. I don't understand the concept of let's point out a group of super respected people who are there literally to save your ass.
So he's a bully.
I literally can't imagine what it would be like if he went to the hospital.
He's a bully.
I mean, I'm assuming he would check in under a different name. He's not that big of a name where people are like, "Oh, that's that guy."
Okay,
Unless it somehow spreads to all the nurses by listening to my podcast. I mean, I wouldn't want that to happen to
I
you,
get where you're
Joe.
going with this. However, there is a fine line between comedy and we'll say acting at this point and the real person. We never thought that, when we see some actors as a character, that's the character in real life, right? Like, so do you think this is just, an act, a comedy routine? Of course, I know it is before you come down on me, but that's not the real person that we see in real life.
I feel like that would be a stupid thing to pick to portray as an actor. So in other words,
you're gonna rip on.
I feel like that's a weird hill to stand on to be an actor. And so in most comedians from, watching comedy forever, most of them don't really, the majority of their act isn't made up, unless they're straight, shooting, firing jokes all the time. They're always talking about stuff that they know or stuff that they experience.
So he's ripping on nurses and women police officers. So you're picking two respected professions and just ripping on them. So I hope you get lots of tickets. Just saying. Any cop friends want to talk to Joe?
Well,
not even that. I feel like part of that too is this is also a great time. You're going to bring all this stuff up. I'm like, does nobody else find that sexist either?
Yeah.
That he just immediately decides that he's the one who can determine what's a hot nurse and what's a hot cop. And
once again, it's a comedy routine. I'm not reading too much into it. I really am not, but I should say, however, with friends and family members in the medical and law enforcement profession, I kind of left my attitude at the door and thought it was a routine. That was it. Nothing more than that. I never took it any too serious. So.
Well, it's okay. You don't have to.
Yeah, it's
but,
okay.
But I guarantee you don't have to. But I guarantee in that audience, there had to be a fair amount of nurses.
And so your friends who are nurses, there's two of them right here, are offended by it. How about your friends that are law enforcement people that would listen to it? I bet they'd be offended too.
His family is a guy, so he's probably not offended because they were insulting. He was insulting women. Yeah,
probably. Yeah, but if that's your partner, like your law enforcement police officer partner, you're going to defend her too.
So from this point on, anybody who ever insults a nurse, I will deal with.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Ron's is going to kick your ass because he's a black belt.
It goes to show. It goes to show when you listen to the routines, right? And we've talked about this before, how people get offended over some of the tiniest things, right? If you weren't a nurse, would you found this funny? I mean, that's a valid question to you because you both are nurses and you approach it as nurses, as someone who saves life. Very respectable, I might add. But if you weren't nurses or in that field, would you found this routine funny?
Here's the problem with questions like that. They can't be answered.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, that's my whole thought process. It's kind of like when people say, "Oh, if you had to do it all over again, would you have changed anything?" What difference does it make? I can't do it all over again.
Okay, I get that.
Thing. And, so for me, it's the same thing with asking, well, if you weren't a nurse, would you be offended? I don't know, because I am a nurse. And so that can never change.
You can't. I see your point.
It's never going to change that I was a paratrooper. I'll always have been a paratrooper. It's never going to change that I was a nurse. I've always been a nurse.
I'm not a female police officer, but I'm offended for her. So.
Okay, fair enough. So
And I've seen plenty of hot cops too, by the way.
Yeah, I got pulled over by a female hot cop. Yeah.
So it goes to the same routine that you and I have discussed martial arts movies. When you watch martial arts movies, do you watch it for the pleasure or do you start to pick apart the motions like, oh, that would never really work in a real fight?
Both. Then maybe that's why.
I do both. But this. Yeah. Okay. So again, then let's say that I just find him offensive for picking on a group of people that are a respected profession that save lives.
That are all
How about if
all
he,
groups that he's picking on are well educated.
How about if he picks
So-
firemen? How's that going to go over?
Oh yeah, not good.
Yeah, not good.
I know a couple of firefighters. I consider them really cool acquaintances.
You know, it's
Fun
not
fact.
like, you know, if you look at like the Gallup poll of top professions in the country, like from most respected to least respected, you know, nurses, like I said, are going to be way up there. I mean, if you want to pick on somebody, look at the list and see which profession is the least respected. And then you can pick on them. How about that?
I don't know.
At
I
least
feel
that
like
would make more sense.
you probably shouldn't pick on any profession because at least they're out there working.
I guess.
So-
I don't know. I mean, the man
mean-
picks on me as a package handler. Right? He says, "Hey, Ron, you're taking packages to the face
Yeah,
today."
but you know
Yeah,
we're
I pick
kidding.
on you. For one thing, I pick on
I
you
see.
because
It's okay if you guys can kid, but it's not okay if other people can
Yeah,
kid.
okay. There's a difference between kidding and like being offensive. That's offensive. Like we're
But what
joking.
do you find offensive versus what do you find kidding?
Well,
Now,
I
honestly,
feel
I
like
know
when
as
you-
nurses, what he says is offensive. Really, I get it.
As a package handler, do you find us telling you to take packages to the face offensive?
even though that's what you said you did.
Because if you do, and if we're offending you, we'll stop.
Yeah, we'll totally stop. Does that make you offended?
No, I
See,
get it.
That's why it's funny.
Because, but you can't go back and change the past. Even if I said I find it offensive, you can't go back and change the past. As the Beaveman said, can't change what I don't, what's already been done.
What you
And-
just said
Shit, here
one
we
of the
go.
most
All right,
insanely
stop that
idiotic
shit.
things I have ever
Just
heard.
Stop that shit.
at no point
All right.
in your rambling,
What
incoherent
the
response
fuck?
were you even close to anything that could be considered
Okay.
a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points,
And may God have
and
mercy.
may God
on
have
you.
mercy on your souls.
So, fun fact. Here's a fun fact. Let's
Did
walk
you know
out
that
the
most
motion.
of the, Did you know that most of the time, this is what my sensei said last night. He's like, it's amazing that whenever anybody starts a sentence with fun fact, they're almost always wrong.
Okay, fair enough. But here's a fun fact about local fire departments. Because I know a couple they've actually told
He
me this.
hangs out at the fire station.
Well, that's,
No, actually,
that's where he does
they-
his Pokemon hunting and where he does his geocaching.
Oh, it's probably true. They do usually have a Pokemon
and
stop there.
geocaches there actually. So yeah,
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
if they wind up on camera in a photo shoot or on let's say a newsreel, they actually, unless it's the chief giving an interview about the fire, they actually have to buy the entire station ice cream. So, and that was told to me by a couple of firefighters I knew. I thought that was pretty cool.
Is that just
'Cause
a
they
station
said-
house thing, or is that a global fire thing?
I don't know if it's a global thing. I know it's a station house thing.
No, it's probably a station house thing.
But they, I asked them why they do that. He said, "We're not in it for the glory. This is how we stay humble. We don't want to be on camera. We're there to save lives. Sort of like the nurses. They're behind the scenes, and that's where they want to be. They don't want to be in front. They're there to do a job. It's their mission to do the job, and then go home at the end of the day. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, Ron thought
Fun
that was
fact.
pretty cool.
Fun fact by the
Ron
Rons.
thought
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
I thought it was cool because
I mean, it makes them team. That's cool.
yeah, it does. They're really, the two fire guys, firefighters I knew were pretty cool guys.
Fire people,
So
Fire people.
fire people, yeah, fire people,
fire persons,
fire persons,
firefighters, firemen.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyway,
Did
well,
you ask them
yeah.
to ride their pole?
No,
But
I
you
did
want
not.
to, don't you?
You want to shine?
Wow.
You want-
You want to shine their engine?
That's
I
all.
thought you were going to say shine their pole, but no.
No, their engine.
Their engine.
Did you want to run your hands up their ladder?
Wow, this took a serious deviant twist.
But that's
Also,
funny.
As a side note, Gayhead is what Ron's from the Slaptail podcast wants Tremonde to give him.
It's true.
It's true.
It's
No,
true.
it's not. Shout out to JD Hutchison, podcaster of the Monsters Lair.
Do you know one of
Give
the
a
biggest
listen.
things that JD gets angry about? is when people say his last name wrong.
How is it said?
Well, it's not Hutchinson.
I don't think I know what it is. I just
Well,
know
if
him
I've
as
been saying it
JD
wrong, I apologize. So tell me how to say it.
It's Hutchins
Oh,
Hutchins.
Hutchins.
of
Like
the
Hutchins.
Monsters Lair podcast.
Rons takes it to Touchins.
Now you made it Touchins. Okay. Well,
He said JD Hutchins.
what a great
'cause he wants
shout
the
out for
Hutchins.
JD.
Yeah.
You probably could have just said JD from the Monsters Lair podcast. That would have probably been the easiest way so you wouldn't fuck it up, Rons. But congratulations to you for screwing it up. And congratulations to JD on his new job.
Yay.
Oh, what's his new job?
I'll let him explain it to you. I'm not gonna say it over there. But it involves a pole and a thong and dollar bills in his G-string.
Ooh.
Awesome.
No, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. All right then. Well, the gauntlet has been thrown, so it's up to you, Joe DeRosa.
Bring it on, Joe.
So if our listening audience is, I feel a lot like I'm not going to be insulting here, but am I getting angry like Joe Rogan used to do before he smoked pot?
Well, you know what? I was just going to make that reference because when Joe Rogan came out with that horse crap for antivirus, whatever it was, because I never bought into it. I never listened to it. I kind of stayed away from that. You were very angrily passionate about the misinformation that was out there. I was like, do the fucking research. Don't listen to this bullshit guy. So this kind of akin to that.
Yeah. I mean, well, definitely don't want to spread misinformation where people fucking die because they do something stupid. But I was just wondering, I'm like, am I following in Joe's footsteps by throwing down the gauntlet?
I don't know. It
I
could
don't
be
know.
kind of fun.
He's not going to pick up the gauntlet anyway.
He's not.
He probably can't even see his feet. So I'm pretty sure he's not going to pick up the gauntlet.
You better wash your penis, Joe.
What the fuck does
You
that
can't see
do?
his feet. You probably can't see his penis
Oh, gotcha.
either.
Okay, otherwise, because it made it sound like you were saying he better wash it in anticipation of something.
No. Yeah. I was just going back to, since we're all nurses, we probably want to suck his cock.
Remember, what was that sound clip that they used to, was it 97.9 that used to play that funny sound clip about nurses or all nurses have random sex with people, or what was that sound clip?
I don't remember, but I feel like
I've never heard of
It was
so I
from,
can't
it was
comment.
some, it was from some, I think it was from some reality TV show or something. But anyway,
Not gonna happen, Joe.
anyway. Yeah,
Anyway.
Joe, if you win the fight, then you earn a night with the Swan.
Not even. No.
As the man of the
wait,
house,
So
as
not
her
only will-
husband, I have the right to. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So not only will he now see a hot nurse, you can dispel all the rumors about nurses.
he's
Which
definitely not getting random sex.
Oh, so you have it already pre-planned out. Awesome.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Anyway.
And you know what?
Anyway,
And he might just go for the Beaveman on that note.
Maybe
Because
that's.
I mean,
no, he's clearly sexist. So I'm pretty sure that he's wanting a chick. Oh, he never did say.
I was gonna say
Honestly,
he could be
he never
sexist
did
because he's got
say.
underlying issues.
Possibly.
Okay. Whatever.
And that's okay.
You do you, Joe.
Yeah, you do you, Joe, because nobody else is doing you. Hi-yo!
If you want to
yeah.
fight,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I could take him.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
So bring it on,
I've got
Joe.
nothing but that would be, but maybe not in a sanctioned match. Like if it was really actually toe to toe street fight, I'm sure you'd take him.
I got you.
I was
Come on, Joe.
trying to be political about it, but
Well, I'm not. I want a scrappy. I want a scrappy fight.
scrappy.
Scrappy.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for me, the Beaveman.
so one last thing. Why didn't you play that clip about his routine? At no point.
Because that's reserved for you.
That's for you,
just
man.
me. I
It's
see.
only for you.
Okay. Because we all know that the B-Man's pretty passionate about his opinion on this. So I think that would have been a perfect tie-in for that clip.
Well, it's your clip, so we can't use it against him. We'll give him his own clip. You
Okay.
dumb.
Actually, yeah, we should just come up with some dumb clips for him.
Yeah. We
I've
could.
heard his other stuff though. I thought his other stuff was funny. But that's what happens, if I like a comedian and they really disappoint me, I stop listening to them.
Yeah, kind of like that one sandwich place that I refused to eat at.
So what other comedians have pissed you off to the point where you stopped listening to them then?
I don't want to say because I'm hoping they turn it around because it was one of my most favorite comedians.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Yeah, and obviously I don't want comedy to be like Timmy does it on the South Park movies, which is amusing for the movie, but I don't want comedy to be like that.
Yeah.
You've seen that movie, right, Rons? Have you seen that?
South Park.
Basically, it's what Timmy is. He's like a talk show host,
Mm-hmm.
but he's built his career on comedy, and he sets up the joke like it's going to be a racist joke, but then it's totally stupid.
I watched the first part of that. I haven't seen the second half, but yes, I did see that.
So he's like a rabbi, a priest, and a whatever. I'm sorry. I don't know what the head of a Muslim church is, and a Muslim walk into a bar.
And they have drinks.
And they have drinks and a really good time.
Like, it's, yeah.
You're like, what? What is this? Yeah. So it's this politically correct comedy in the future. I'm assuming is kind of how they went with it. Anyway, as I was saying, maybe I'm a little too angry. I don't know. But I really feel like that you picked on the wrong people, especially now. So,
I mean,
on a serious note, thank you, nurses, doctors, physical therapists, rehab specialists, nurse aides, housekeepers, clerks, everybody for everything that you do in the hospital to take care of people during this tough time, whether it's because of the pandemic. And because keep in mind, people have other stuff going on at the same time, and they're dealing with all those other illnesses at the same time that they're dealing with people with COVID. Because the other stuff never stops. Heart disease doesn't stop. Diabetes doesn't stop. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease doesn't stop. None of that stuff. They're doing it all. So thank you for all you do. Sincerely, from the Beaveman.
Ooh.
And adios, much fuckos.
Bye.
And fuck
from
you,
the
Joe
Swan.
DeRosa.
Hey.
That'll be my new sound clip. Fuck you, Joe DeRosa.
Bye from the Swan.
And from the Rons to everybody out there, including the Beaveman, stay sane because it's a crazy motherfucking world out there.
Is it crazy out there?
It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't know how the JJ works. You had to throw that in there. Appreciate it.